Tonight, surveying the damage.
I didn't quite get it in the garage in time before the hail and everything came.
The aftermath from intense storms across the region. Plus, what comes next?
We have no further comments to make about the decision at this time.
Will the Crown pursue an appeal after the World Junior Sexual Assault acquittals? And home counties comeback. The Summer Music and Art Festival returning to Victoria Park.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with the cleanup efforts in our region after last night's summer storm. As Sean Irvin reports, Perth County was hardest hit with widespread damage in Mitchell and parts of Stratford.
From the sound of chainsaws to the sound of tractors pulling apart down trees. This is the scene just south of Mitchell, hours after a storm hit Thursday evening. A large tree in front of Warren Harper's home was completely uprooted from the ground. He was inside when Mother Nature blew in.
Just a lot of cold air coming down and just pow, it hit here.
Around the property, additional signs of the force of the wind. A shed door blown in, and more concerning, 2 silo tops knocked out by falling trees. Harper tells CTV News it's the worst damage he's seen in the area in 30 years. The winds were strong enough to snap and topple hydro lines along a section of Highway 23. The road was closed as crews worked to replace the poles and restore power. Some of those who live nearby were on the road as the storm hit.
We pulled into a driveway because you couldn't see, like for rain and hail. Hail was the scary part.
Parked vehicles also took a beating. Take a look at Ted Keller's SUV. It had just been pulled out from under a toppled tree. Keller has only had the car for a month.
Just one branch came down and then blew over on top of the car, but I didn't quite get it in the garage in time before the hail and everything came.
Inside the town of Mitchell, branches and in some cases downed trees line every single street. In some cases, power was restored to homes here before the noon hour. Dashcam and drone footage shows widespread tree damage throughout the town. Thankfully, there are no reports of injuries. But there are broken hearts, especially at this address. This nearly 200-year-old tree had been cabled by an arborist to keep it healthy. Then the storm split it in half. Now new braces prevent it from crashing into a neighboring home. But the old tree's fate is sealed.
It's a big old silver maple, and we've been nursing it along, trying to keep it going. And it just finally met its match.
In Mitchell, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Hello, I'm meteorologist Gary Archibald for CTV News. A line of instability is cutting across a swath of southern Michigan into southern Ontario, where it certainly matters for us. Some brief encounters with scattered showers and thunderstorm activity is still a possibility through this evening and the overnight. Saturday's still warm and muggy. Expect humidex values in the mid-30s. Sunday, more of the same, mostly cloudy showers. But believe it or not, we're going to cool down next week, towards the end of it. I'll break down the temperature forecast, all things that you need to know weather-wise, coming up.
Thank you, Gary. Railway officials say they're investigating a train derailment in Paris this morning. They say more than 24 CN rail cars jumped the tracks, leaving train traffic at a standstill. No injuries were reported, nor any leaks, spills, or fires. According to Via Rail officials, there were significant scheduling disruptions for passenger trains as a result. The clock is now ticking for Crown attorneys to file an appeal after yesterday's not guilty verdicts in the World Junior Sexual Assault trial. After a months-long trial process, the judge acquitted each of the 5 players on the sexual assault charges against them. London police had charged them based on allegations made by a woman accusing them of assaulting her in a London hotel room back in 2018 while they were in town for a Hockey Canada gala. There is a 30-day window for Crown lawyers to appeal yesterday's decision.
We will carefully review Justice Karasia's decision And as this case is still within the appeal period, we have no further comments to make about the decision at this time.
Beyond the verdict, the investigation and trial put a focus on hockey culture more broadly and the meaning of consent. Adrian Gabriel has more on that.
A verdict delivered, a sports culture remains in the spotlight.
They found me lying on a floor in the bathroom, unconscious.
Kathleen LaRoche was 23 years old when she believed she was drugged and then eventually sexually assaulted in 2015 by a major junior hockey player in Quebec, who she says would go on to have a successful NHL career.
I called him. They found me unconscious. What happened? He said, just the only thing is I'm about to sign with the NHL. Please don't talk about it. That's what I did.
In denial for years, she suppressed the memory of what she says took place.
When Me Too wave came, my body started having anxiety symptoms, as if my body remembered, even if my head didn't want to.
As part of her personal journey and to help educate athletes, LaRoche is now working with hockey players and coaches at all levels, starting as young as 15 years old, sharing her experience and the importance of consent and self-awareness.
I want to educate people like him to protect people like me.
Author Lauren Robinson wrote Crossing the Line, that examines the pervasive culture of Canada's national sport.
In my book, I have two guys who were convicted, actually, Jarrett Reed and Andrew Power, as they were convicted as junior players. They're both coaching right now.
Following this week's verdicts, one-time star goalie Carter Hart had his lawyer share this message.
He is committed to sharing what he has learned with others in his personal circle and in his professional life.
We need to hear what Carter Hart believes those lessons are. We have to stop acting like this, and we have to make sure that there's not a generation after us acting like this.
For LaRoche, that's her ultimate goal.
By helping them understand themselves more, they can be more conscious about their actions.
LaRoche says she's witnessed a willingness from young athletes who are eager to change the narrative, adding that she's hopeful for the next generation. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, London, Ontario.
It's not the weekend she envisioned for a local singer-songwriter. The musician was supposed to open for a multi-platinum band in New York State, but she's still here in London, the latest Canadian artist to deal with unprecedented visa delays. Daryl Newcomb reports.
Today was the day, and we are going to miss out.
London-based country singer-songwriter Amanda Keel should be in upstate New York opening a music festival for multi-platinum band Parmalee. But her and her band's P2 visa application to perform in the United States is stuck in a processing backlog.
We sent the applications in plenty of time. The fee was processed. We kept getting notifications that there was delays.
And it turns out Keels isn't alone. Artists right across Canada are experiencing longer wait times for those all-important P2 visas. The Canadian office of the Federation of Musicians of the United States and Canada says recent visa delays came with no warning from American officials.
The last one being our Vermont Service Center that we deal with, they just increased their processing times last month, so it was quite a blindside for us.
What had been a 3 to 6 month processing period has recently jumped to about a year. Keels was recently told she could try expediting her application for $2,800 US, but there was no guarantee. So her latest big break turned to heartbreak.
This is the world we're living in, unfortunately, that artists are getting caught up in this red tape of politics and these delays.
A lobbying effort is underway, hoping to convince U.S. citizenship and immigration to address the backlog facing Canadian artists.
The message that is being delivered back to us is that we need examples and data from the U.S. venues which are impacted by these last-minute cancellations.
It is so unfortunate because musicians just love to play their music. And this is what is happening.
Undeterred, Keels is choosing to cowgirl up, focusing on her tour with stops in Collingwood, Thunder Bay, and Canada's East Coast. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Weekend events are back at the Covent Garden Market Square in the midst of ongoing construction. With more on the efforts to strike a balance, allowing for more festivities to return, here's Jerry Dewan.
While Island Fest signs go up at one end of Market Square, this is what's happening at the other end. Island Fest will be the second event hosted on Market Square since it partially reopened 2 weeks ago. Construction closed access to the square last September. Vendors and restaurants were still available inside the market, and while many businesses have a dedicated clientele, they also rely heavily on events in the square to draw new customers in. Covent Garden Market General Manager Amy Shackleton says they did their best to keep people coming.
Just getting the word out that we are open. We're open 6 days a week, and we're here and ready to serve.
Island Fest organizers were happy to see the reopening of the Market Square. Building on the success of last year's gathering, they've expanded their event out onto Talbot. There were concerns that weather-related construction delays might push back the Market Square reopening, forcing them to another location.
I won't lie, we've been on our tippy toes a little bit, but we made an executive decision to stay with the square. This is our home, and this is where we're going to stay. The construction noises will die down as the day progresses.
While events have returned to the square for the weekends, access during the week will continue to be limited. The work will be going on until September.
During the week, we do have the square closed just so they can finish up the work that has to be done. But every weekend we've got something booked in, so the square is open.
Shackleton recognizes the importance of the square to all businesses in the area of the market.
We play such a big role. We're the hub of the city. You know, people come down here, they look forward to these cultural events. So we know the importance of being able to showcase the diversity here in London. And so it's so important. So that's why we really made sure to make this happen, that we can make sure to have the events and festivals here.
Also returning this winter will be the Covent Garden Market skating rink. Shackleton says the total cost of the work being done is about $5 million. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
The 49th Home County Folk Festival is tomorrow in Victoria Park. It's a return to the heart of downtown London after a one-year hiatus. With more on how this year's event is shaping up, here's Lauren Stallone.
Preparations are underway as the Home County Folk League is set to make its return to Victoria Park this Saturday after a brief pause in 2024 due to rising costs. The festival is now back and sounding better than ever for its 49th season. Iconic Canadian band Bedouin Soundclash will take to the stage, along with a number of other talented performers.
I think it's, I think a lot of people go, oh, I love Bedouin Soundclash. I've heard them on the radio. There's other people who are going to say, oh, I don't know that band. And then they're going to hear songs and go, oh, I know that song, and I know that song.
Organizers of the festival say this year will look a little different for folk lovers.
We have one stage right in the middle of the park. They're setting it up behind me right now. It is going to be a one-day festival.
In addition to live music, this year's event will feature a craft show featuring pottery, jewelry, fine art, and gourmet food. Visitors are encouraged to explore the park and enjoy the music.
We encourage everybody to BYOB, bring your own blanket, or bring a chair, because we're going to be in the grass in the center of the park.
Since 1974, the festival has been a beloved fixture of London's cultural identity, celebrating Canadian music, art, and craft in the heart of the city.
We have all sorts of new and exciting ideas, and we are looking for feedback from visitors for future years, and we're always welcome to having volunteers join us and help us to reimagine the festival in future years.
The festival kicks off at 1:30. Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
Still ahead with a trade deal looking less likely by August 1st, or less likely at all. We look at the road forward for Canada's economy in the face of American tariffs. Plus, after 3 days spent underground in northern BC, rescue teams extract trapped miners, all of them safe and sound.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
The Hayloft Music Festival is set to take over Listowel on Saturday, August 2nd, with an all-Canadian lineup featuring Brett Kissel, Mackenzie Porter, the Prairie States, and more. Enter at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win a pair of VIP tickets.
President Donald Trump now says a final trade deal between Canada and the U.S. may not happen at all, let alone by the latest deadline set, August 1st. As Abigail Beeman reports, that could make tariffs an unavoidable reality for the Canadian economy.
U.S. President Donald Trump says most trade deals will be finished by August 1st. But as for us,
we haven't really had a lot of luck with Canada. I think Canada could be one where they'll just pay tariffs, not really a negotiation.
Hot on the heels of senior Canadians declaring progress and encouragement after D.C. meetings.
I had a productive, cordial discussion meeting with Secretary Lutnick.
We don't have a deal with Canada. We haven't been focused on it.
It looks like we're trying to negotiate with the guy at the reception desk. Commerce Secretary Lutnick's not going to make decisions.
Ottawa has certainly been focused on Washington.
I hope the Prime Minister and the government will start doing is being a little bit more forceful in putting out exactly what we're going to do in terms of preparing workers who are going to be affected.
The hit is starting to be material and financial in nature.
The Canadian Chamber of Commerce says the months of uncertainty are toxic for business.
It's not going to go away on August 1st, even if we have a temporary deal, because we are facing a real review of CUSMA, which is the big one.
But for now, all eyes are focused on August 1st, with no one having a clear idea of what will happen before the day the president has threatened to impose 35% tariffs on all goods not covered by CUSMA. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials with the tunnel between Windsor and Detroit say traffic is down. However, they also say that crossing is the least affected in Canada, with a drop of 5% traffic volume. They say more than 10,000 commuters still cross daily, maintaining strong economic and social ties between the two cities.
The weekend travel, certainly the discretionary travel, is down considerably. Obviously, there's an elbows up campaign to try and keep our money here, and we understand that, and that's just something that we're going through right now, and I'm sure the folks in Ottawa and Washington will sort that out soon.
A trio of workers have been freed from a northern BC mine. They'd been trapped underground for more than 2 days, but are now safely back on the surface. With more on the rescue operation, here's Regan Hasagawa.
After more than 60 hours trapped deep underground, these scenic views of the Red Chris mine are a sight for sore eyes.
3 workers from high-tech drilling who were safely brought to surface last night. They are being reunited with their families early this morning. We are deeply relieved that all 3 individuals are safe and in good health and spirits.
One worker described the ordeal as a wild week and said he was glad to be out of there. The diamond drillers from BC, Manitoba, and Ontario were rescued faster than experts had expected, thanks to their quick thinking and the help of new technology.
Safety protocols work. Incredible that Kevin, Darren, and Jesse did exactly what they were trained to do, and because of that, they stayed safe.
The trio got trapped Tuesday after 2 rock falls in the access tunnel. They were able to get to a refuge chamber equipped with everything they needed to survive for weeks, but they did lose all communication.
We do the daily inspections. We do monthly inspections. We actually do second line of defense inspections with teams from external to observe and see. This one that caught us by surprise.
Experts say these kinds of rock falls are rare.
It's just nothing but uncertainty, radical uncertainty.
He says it appears everything was done to prevent the disaster, but the nature of the work is unpredictable.
They were probably drilling holes for explosives. What they were building was a ramp, or what was known as a decline into the underground.
He expects we'll soon be hearing about these kinds of situations more often.
BC is really open pit mining country, and it has been for a while. Very few underground mines. We're going to see more underground mines because of the demand for metals.
BC may lead the industry in safety, but experts warn automation is the next step to prevent future emergencies. The open pit mine at Red Chris is resuming operations, but the underground project will remain closed until the investigation is complete. Regan Hasagawa, CTV News, Vancouver.
A long day on the job can be tiring and dehydrating, regardless of species.
Look.
This bear was captured on video taking a break from clearly supervising this landfill in remote northwestern Ontario. That's a bottle of iced tea in its grasp, gulping down the rest of its contents. And Gary Archibald is with me tonight. Gary, the humidity today not nearly as intense as yesterday, but in terms of the conditions heading into the weekend, we've gone through some storms. Is there more wetness in this weekend coming up?
Looks like we could see a second round of showers and thunderstorms. And as we were talking off camera, it looks like the second round isn't as intense, but there could still be some localized cells, thunderstorms that roll through southern and southwestern Ontario over the next 24 to 48 hours. That could be in pockets more severe with gusty winds, heavier downpours rather, etc. 28 degrees today, a degree above seasonal for this time of the year. The low at 22. There hasn't been much range between high and low because it's relatively speaking been that way the last few days. The extremes, what we would normally see at this time of the year, closer to about 27 for a high, 15 for a low. Temperatures remain warm through the late nights. We are still looking at a temperature hovering around 27 degrees Celsius, feeling like 36 at the airport in the great city of London, Ontario. Mostly cloudy conditions, pocket isolated showers moving through southern Ontario proper as I speak, as this line of activity along what we would deem in meteorological terms a quasi-stationary front lingers across the upper ridge, if you will, of the Ohio Valley and then into the lower Great Lakes. The next 24 to 48 hours still has enough instability in the atmosphere to produce some showers, scattered showers and thunderstorms, the combination of the two. I think it will likely line the north shores of Lake Erie, head towards the Golden Horseshoe. Still means that the 401 corridor is in the mix for Saturday and parts of Sunday. The worst of it in terms of active weather lies stateside in Michigan, perhaps portions of northern Ohio, certainly extreme southwestern Ontario, Leamington, Amherstburg, Windsor. But London, certainly. Strathroy will get into some scattered showers, not likely again into the heaviest downpours that we've seen over the last couple of weeks at times. The breakdown for tonight, looking at 24 degrees through 8 o'clock, feels like 32 by midnight. Chance of showers, 30% is the probability stat I'm putting up there. The winds calm through the overnight, but still 19 at 12 a.m. feels like about 26, 27. It is a warm overnight, early start to Saturday. Take a look at the next 7 days, courtesy of our good friends at Metal Roof Outlet. I'm calling for some scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm in the afternoon. A high of 27, feels like 35, 28 in showers Sunday, 31 followed by 28. Still mostly cloudy Monday, Tuesday, feeling like the upper 30s. Then sunshine cooling off through the middle of next week, Wednesday into Thursday and Friday. A week from now, fairer weather, but much cooler, and believe it or not, several degrees below seasonal. More showers, as mentioned, for the Midwestern tier through the weekend, and still warm. Upper 20s, maybe 30 by Monday, Tuesday, and then 25, 24 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. Very cool. And that's going to be the temperature trend as we head towards the middle of next week.
Thank you, Gary. When we come back, whose job is most at risk when it comes to AI? The vulnerability depends on the sector.
Big news. Luke Combs is already teasing even more new music, even though he just released new music. And Thomas Rhett joined some elite company.
We'll talk about it on the iHeartRadio Pure Country Countdown this weekend. Saturdays at 9 and Sundays at 4.
A third major automaker is reporting a substantial financial hit from American tariffs. Officials with Europe's biggest car maker, Volkswagen, say they lost $1.5 billion during the first half of this year. The company is behind the massive electric vehicle battery plant near St. Thomas, currently under construction. Volkswagen's operating profits for last quarter fell nearly 30% compared to a year ago. Earlier this week, General Motors said its second quarter profits fell by $1 billion, while Stellantis reported a $2.7 billion drop in the first half of 2025. Tech experts say they expect artificial intelligence to play an increasingly prevalent role in the workplace, but to what extent will depend on the sector. With more, here's Jesse Thomas.
At the East Coast bakery, bagels are flying off the shelves, but it's no robot making these.
Well, artificial intelligence, I mean, it's clearly going to take over a lot of creative aspects. I mean, maybe I can get it to do like my nutritional information or like help me streamline recipes. But as far as the actual labor goes, maybe until the Tesla robots show up, we're pretty safe, I think.
There's a human touch to every pastry and bun that hits the shelf, a craft no machine can replicate.
Everything we do here is like nice and manual. It's all homemade. It's all fresh. And you can't have a computer like replace that kind of love that goes into making a product like this.
Digital anthropologist Giles Crouch says the artificial intelligence debate is shifting from fear of technology replacing your job to how it can augment it.
Are you worried about your job, Giles?
No, not at all.
Crouch uses AI every day. It helps him work smarter.
But I never use it to actually write. I use it to help me think. And, you know, with anthropology, there's so much knowledge. And so I ask it questions and we have a conversation type of thing. That helps me create content and write.
Microsoft released a list of 40 jobs where AI is more transferable. Jobs like historians, writers, and authors, customer service reps, and broadcast announcers and DJs. Jobs that rely on language and writing and routine tasks. Things AI does well. And another list highlights jobs where AI isn't compatible. Jobs like nurses, long-haul truck drivers, roofers and laborers, maids and housekeepers, and massage therapists, which need human hands and presence. While AI technology has and will ultimately replace some jobs, Crouch says the sky isn't falling. We still need humans.
It's gone from this fear of massive job replacement to, okay, how can we actually get a benefit out of these tools? How will it augment my work and make it better?
Jesse Thomas, CTV News, Halifax.
A homeowner in Cambridge says he recently became aware of his property being used in a scam. He says criminals are using photos of his house as bait, trying to get would-be renters to send first and last month's rent. Jeff Pickle reports.
Brett Broman is a proud new homeowner
and moved in here on July 8th.
But not long after buying, he noticed people taking a very close look at his new home.
I just had seen on my camera that there's people walking around my yard once, and I thought that was odd, but I thought it was just a utility person.
Then on Sunday, Broman says, a very strange situation.
There was 3 guys who just showed up in my backyard.
Confused and anxious, Broman asked what they were doing.
Actually, we saw this house in the listing. Sorry?
After an awkward few minutes, the guys explained there was an ad on Facebook Marketplace listing the house for rent.
It's very nerve-wracking, you know, knowing that like there's an ad up for your house and people could at any time just be trespassing on your yard.
Broman says because the house was recently for sale, someone has taken the pictures from the listing and posted it as a rental. At well below market price, Broman says he's worried someone might fall for the scam.
So people are probably going to be thinking, like, this is such a good deal.
Broman has reported the issue to police, who say until money changes hands, there's little they can do. He says his attempts to contact Facebook and get the ad removed have not been successful.
Their bots just keep on saying it doesn't go against their standards, and then the ad's still up. So it's been since Sunday, and now today's Friday.
Well, Broman says he is hopeful to avoid any more awkward encounters.
I'm wondering, like, oh, are people going to just start peeking in my windows while I'm, like, sitting there watching TV or cooking dinner?
He wants people to be aware of the signs of a scam.
Make sure that you actually see the inside of the house and whoever you're talking to has a key. and can go inside and can show you around, not just tell you to walk around outside.
As of this afternoon, the ad remains on Facebook. Broman is hopeful it will come down so he can enjoy his new home in peace. Jeff Pickle, CTV News, Cambridge.
Gains in technology stocks help lift Canada's main stock index. The TSX ended the week up 122 points. In New York, the Dow climbed 208. The Nasdaq added 50. The Canadian dollar lost 0.4 of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold fell almost $38 an ounce. Oil dropped 87 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, a new addition to the Stratford Perth Museum's collection, Artifact, and its connection to Canada's war for independence centuries ago. Welcome back. RCMP are investigating a violent incident east of Vancouver that left 3 people dead. Police were initially called to a residential area yesterday to deal with a neighbor dispute. A few hours later, they returned after gunshots were reported. Ben Nesbitt reports.
A heavy police presence, burnt-out vehicles, and neighbors still processing the tragic events of Wednesday night.
Just shocked, absolutely shocked.
I heard gunshots and looked out the window and I saw the fire.
Ridge Meadows RCMP officers were first called to the area of 239 Street and 118A Avenue just after 6:30 for a neighborhood dispute. They spoke with several people, but no arrests were made. Then, just before 11 p.m., Mounties are called back after reports that cars had been set on fire, as well as gunshots.
I went and looked out the window, and that flames were just going up the side of the house, up into the roof. The car was on fire, and that's when I heard, and then I said, holy crap. I said, okay, shut it down, let's get out of here. Okay.
This man named Rick lives next door to the victims, who he described as a lovely older couple in their 60s. When police arrived the second time, they were dead in their home, while a male suspect who lived across the road fled inside, allegedly carrying a weapon. Police surrounded the home for hours before making entry.
Earlier this morning at around 2:10, one man was found deceased inside a residence from what appears to be a self-inflicted injury.
BC's police watchdog has been called in to investigate the actions of the officers involved. The victims also had a dog who was found dead, while an elderly woman who was living in their basement was able to escape the flames with the help of a neighbor.
An explosion happened right after the gunfire and then fire, and I was like, I kind of blacked out. It was just help everybody else around me.
The BC RCMP's homicide team will investigate the deaths of the 2 victims.
They've been just great neighbors, great people.
Ben Nesbitt, CTV News.
Officials in Newfoundland say for years they've had to deal with dozens of unclaimed bodies piling up at hospitals. As Garrett Barry reports, only recently have they been able to expand their morgue capacities to better manage the dead.
Health officials say that new infrastructure, along with new procedures for handling unclaimed remains, will all amount to a lasting solution to a backlog that shocked this province 1 year ago.
These outdoor freezer units stacked in a hospital loading bay became a makeshift morgue last year in St. John's when staff struggled to keep up with a pile of human remains, nearly 30, going unclaimed in the province's largest hospital. Now, a suite of 4 new units has dramatically increased morgue space here from about 12 to nearly 100 spaces, depending on the configuration.
Based on that data-driven exercise that we did, we've built the site to accommodate our current needs as well as protect it into the future.
There's also a new legal regime. A law passed in December gives the health board expanded powers to make final arrangements for some individuals if no family can be found. A new website gives the public a 5-day notice to come forward. After that, Newfoundland and Labrador Health Services can arrange for cremation or a funeral.
We do have a way now to have a very respectful burial that's empathetic and caring. And in most cases, we're able to have this burial in the communities where people were from.
Even now, health officials say they're still not exactly sure what happened during the COVID-19 pandemic to cause human remains to start piling up. Still, they say they're confident now that these new changes will allow for more respectful and quicker final arrangements. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
A new report suggests as many as 60,000 Canadian public service jobs could be at risk as federal cabinet ministers explore cost savings. Josh Moreno has more on the potential impact of the Prime Minister's directive.
It's not information that you want to hear.
Impending cuts to the public service sector have Hannah Zahirovic feeling nervous about if she will have a job in the next 3 years.
People are going to have to make hard decisions, and that's just it. I don't know. It's hard. As a public servant, I'm like, no cuts. But as a taxpayer, I'm like, ooh, we can use some cuts.
Earlier this month, cabinet ministers were directed to develop a plan to find savings of up to 15% in federal departments. A new report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives predicts that the National Capital Region will bear the brunt of the job cuts.
It would mean the loss of about 57,000 jobs. A little under half of those would be right here in Ottawa and Gatineau. As you look at each one of the individual departments, you can break down where their employment is and therefore figure out where they would probably lose employment if their staffing levels came down.
The report by David McDonald says the Canada Revenue Agency, Employment and Social Development Department, and Citizenship and Immigration will see the highest number of job losses.
There's a rough trade happening here. You're going to see decreased service levels, things like getting your taxes done, getting EI and old age security and Canada Pension Plan, in trade for bigger defense spending, as well as tax cuts for middle and upper income households.
In a statement from the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada, accuses the government using a backroom directive to find savings. The Liberal government is doing it without a budget, without a vote in Parliament, and without a shred of transparency or democratic accountability. No debate, no public input.
These have yet to be booked in a budget, so we don't actually know how much of this is going through, but this is the brief that got sent to ministers. You need to show me 15% cuts, show me a plan, and we'll decide later whether it's something we want to approve or not.
The size of the federal public service has already been cut by 9,800 jobs over the past year. As for Zahirovic, she says she hopes there will be more answers soon.
More clarity will definitely put me a little more at ease. Even if it's not information I want to hear, just knowing for it allows me to plan for it a little bit better.
Josh Moreno, CTV News.
Workers have started dismantling the 450-meter concrete ring at Montreal's Olympic Stadium, part of the existing roof. They're using custom-built mobile scaffolding, holding each arm of the ring as sections are taken down. It's part of an $870 million roof replacement project, which Quebec government officials have said they hope will reinstill pride in the stadium. The current retractable fabric roof will be replaced with a lighter, more resistant steel and glass fixed roof. The Supreme Court of Canada has decided against hearing a legal case involving an emoji. The country's highest court dismissed an application by a Saskatchewan farmer appealing a decision by that province's appeals court, which upheld a verdict that a thumbs-up emoji met signature requirements and was a legally binding agreement between the farmer and a grain buyer. In 2021, a text contract was sent to the farmer for a delivery. The response was a thumbs-up emoji. However, the product was not delivered, and the farmer was then taken to court. Monday on CTV News, Christmas in July for Santa's house. The popular holiday fixture is on the move again. Details on its new permanent home Monday on CTV News at 6.
Let's take a look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Ellen Price, as always, for a beautiful image this evening and through the overnight. Expect mainly cloudy conditions with a 30% chance of showers, a low of 18 degrees. Tomorrow, cloudy still and 30 to 40% chance of showers, a risk of a thunderstorm in the late afternoon. The high 27 feels like a very warm and sultry 35 to 36.
Prime Minister Mark Carney condemned the Israeli government on social media last night, accusing Israel of failing to prevent a rapidly deteriorating humanitarian disaster in Gaza. Before that post, France became the latest Western nation to say it will officially recognize a Palestinian state, and that decision has been condemned by both Israeli and American officials. Meanwhile, a United Nations report indicates roughly 1 in 10 children in Gaza are suffering severe malnutrition. Israeli officials have denied creating famine-like conditions, accusing Hamas of engineering shortages of food that's already being delivered. English-speaking Quebecers protested in Montreal yesterday, opposing the province's French language bill. With more on their concerns, here's Matt Grillo.
A small but determined crowd called for Bill 96 to be thrown out. They say the law is a nail in the coffin for the English-speaking community.
We have a history here. Even though some politicians choose to ignore it and erase it, we do have a history here. And we have every right to be here, and we're not leaving, and we're going to fight. We're staying.
They worry that educational institutions are being unfairly targeted.
We shouldn't be the scapegoats because French is in decline. That's not how to save a language. That's how to destroy a language.
They point to the $30 million fine LaSalle College is facing for enrolling too many students in its English language programs over the past 2 academic years.
There are so many Francophone students in LaSalle College that are going to be harmed too if the school closes because of this $30 million fine.
LaSalle College is contesting the fine in Quebec's Superior Court. In a statement, the Office of Higher Education Minister Pascal Derry said proceedings are taking their course. Despite support and several warnings, LaSalle is the only subsidized private college to continue defying the Charter of the French language and failing to comply with it for the 2nd year running. As the matter is before the courts, we won't comment further.
Equality, fairness.
Steve Theberge came from Quebec City to join Thursday's protest.
I think Bill 96 should be, many articles should be invalidated. I think it's more that the people are waking up and the world is becoming more and more bilingual. And so that's where the issue is.
And even though it was a small crowd, these protesters say they'll continue fighting for Anglo rights. Matt Grillo, CTV News.
A moment during a recent Justin Timberlake concert in Europe is going viral. Some fans say they want a refund after the pop star's show in Romania last week. They say he refused to sing during one of his biggest hits and repeatedly complained about the rain and cold during his set.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, a piece of history has been handed over to the Stratford Perth Museum. The historic ammunition pouch was discovered in a home 8 decades ago, held onto as a keepsake for generations. But as Ashley Bacon reports, the artifact actually dates back much further.
That was a long time ago, and I've kept it ever since.
The year was 1945. A then 15-year-old rising track star Gordon Wilder and his grandfather began to renovate their home on Coburg Street in Stratford. When an interior wall came down, a treasure was unearthed.
Out pops this ammunition pouch, and it was buried in sawdust, which was insulation in those days. And so we dug it out. He looked at it and he handed it to me. He said, "Here, you can have it."
For the last 8 decades, this ammunition belt has been carefully kept at the Wilder home.
Mom and Dad decorated their house so lovely, and it was just part of it, and I never really thought much of it.
Now, 95 years old, Gordon believes it's time to pass it on.
I didn't want money for it. I just wanted to give it and verify history, and that's hopefully what's happened here in this museum.
Is a cartridge holder or an ammo pouch that contained shot and bolt, and our collections manager has dated it back to not only the War of 1812, but earlier to the 1700s.
The belt believed to be used in the War of 1812 and with the local militia before somehow ending up in a wall at 146 Coburg.
What we can determine is that whoever had this at the house that at that time in 1945 was 146 Coburg Street, that they probably brought it here.
Bringing with it a lifetime of memories and history to pass along.
I'm happy about it. I can sleep better now at night.
It's great because we already have an exhibit about this history, and we'll be able to tell its story.
After being a treasured family heirloom for the last 80 years, it'll be another few weeks before the public can get to view it on display here at the Stratford Perth Museum. Ashley Bacon, CTV News, Stratford.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.